This is a 1997 Zamboni ice resurfacing machine. It's not a Zamboni. It's an ice resurfacing machine. It'll tell you in the PDF. These things have been made since 1949, in California of all places, and have been shaving ice all across the world since. It's got a 1.8 four-cylinder Volkswagen engine with no turbocharge and 2,800 RPM, cranking at a whopping speed of 9 miles an hour. It's fueled by propane, has a hydrostatic transmission, a 77-inch long blade that cuts at 26 degrees, steel-belted radial tires with tungsten-tipped studs. It's 6.4 tons, holds 195 gallons in its water tank and another 100 cubic feet of snow in that dump tank. And look, it goes up and down. It's got multiple knobs and levers. The one that turns controls the water, the circular one adjusts the blade, and the one that makes that loud, annoying banging sound, that chops up the ice underneath the rig. This thing is a beast, and it perfectly relates to my two guests today. Steelheads defenseman Jeff King, who came to Boise just after the season started and is apparently a pizza lover, and Steelheads goalie Thomas Scholl, the resident history buff of the locker room and can spout 15 presidents' names in about 15 seconds. I'm Colin Shuck, and this is Hockey Players on Zambonis Getting Pizza. Kinger, how are you?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Just a little hungry. Want to go grab some food before playoffs start? Maybe some pizza?
Pizza, come here. Let's do it.
Any guys you want to bring with you? Maybe like Scholey?
I would imagine. Let's do it.
All right. I'll pick you up in about an hour at the hotel.
See you, man.
Guys, how's it going?
Can't complain.
Thanks for meeting me out for lunch. I appreciate it. I want to do something a little special for you guys because it is toward the end of the year. So we're going to go in a couple minutes, but we got to get a ride first. So if you guys want to follow me,
let's do it.
Sounds good. Well, guys, here's your ride.
Oh, wow. Let's do it. Interesting.
Yeah? We'll do something a little different for you guys.
Cool.
Okay, are we ready? Or?
Let's do it. I told you it'd be interesting. Exactly. Oh, it's not a bad spot. Got the TV.
No, TVs are nice. Got some soccer games on, living.
Are you a big soccer fan?
Decent.
I know that a lot of guys in the team are big soccer guys.
A lot bigger than me.
Okay.
A lot, I'm definitely not a soccer fan compared to those guys.
Is there a sport that's bigger than soccer that most of the guys follow along with?
We got a lot of golfers. Everyone watches the Golf Channel. I think especially Tiger coming back into the mix.
Okay.
But I think off time is the majority soccer on this team.
Okay.
Surprisingly, don't see that often.
I know you're a big golf guy.
Very big. As best I can be.
What is your handicap?
At the end of this year, I was 2-8. I was pretty proud of that.
2-8?
Yeah. So
that's it.
I just started around a 12 in the summer and got down to an 8. So hopefully this summer we can see what else will happen. Yeah.
Gosh,
practice makes perfect, man.
I shoot under 100 and I'm having a really good day.
It's a good day. You're playing yourself on the golf course every time, buddy. You're good. You're good.
So you have dual citizenship. You're Canadian, you're American. But your parents are each on one side of the border. Your dad grew up in Michigan. Your mom grew up in Canada.
Yep.
So was it always a plan for you to have dual citizenship with the idea of hockey in mind?
I believe so. I know my dad, he was a big hockey guy. He didn't go too far, but he loved the game, and his dad loved the game, my grandpa. So it was kind of just a family thing. I think he had a good feeling that me and my brother would enjoy it as much as they did, and then if it ever came the time that we would cross the border, that would make things a lot easier, and just so happens that it did. Worked out both ways.
Your family's actually in the business of speedboating.
Yeah.
Kind of in the way, isn't it? Right?
Yeah, pretty interesting. Interestingly enough, my grandpa started in that too. My dad caught a liking to it. And now my brother likes it too. They tried to see if I was going to do it, but that kind of speed isn't really my thing, especially on water. I can do 4 wheels, but not 2 sponsons.
Is it more dangerous in your eyes, hockey or speedboating?
Oh yeah, speedboating. I've seen some videos of it, especially in the old days when my grandpa and dad were doing it. Those guys were pretty nuts. They didn't have a cockpit around them. There was no glass. It was just them outside in a boat and water. So you'd get them flew out of those things with no seatbelt all the time. It was pretty intense, but it's not like that now, just so you know. But my brother flipped one once, just got a little bit too much air under it, and then once you're going that fast and there's air, automatically takes back. He landed upright, so he didn't have to do too much work, but sometimes if you land upside down, there's a little capsule, you gotta crawl out of the boat, and that's when my mom starts getting scared when she sees my dad or my brother having to pop out of that. But they both love it, and they do it all the time, so it must safe enough, I guess.
Does she breathe a sigh of relief when you get her compared to them?
Yeah, no, she's always giving it to me, although I don't do it too often. In a fight in hockey, she's the first one to call me after the game and give me a little whack, but she knows it's nothing crazy, and those guys do some pretty crazy stuff, but she knows that they love that too, so she lets them do it.
Well, moms are good.
Yeah, she knows everything.
So you go from your parents' background. You and your brother both played hockey.
Yep, we did.
So where was the veering point for you and your brother, kind of where you wanted to go in your careers?
Right. Well, he ended up playing high school hockey in our hometown, and then I did the AAA thing, and I ended up getting drafted in the OHL. But before I made it onto the Sarnia Sting, the OHL team that drafted me, I played for their junior B team, which was also in Sarnia, the Sarnia Legionnaires, which is give or take 30 minutes from our house, just on the other side of the border. And so when I got sent down there, I asked the coach, hey, look, my brother is 2 years older. He's a pretty good hockey player, and he ended up making the team. So we actually played junior hockey there together for a year. After that year, I ended up making the OHL team, the Sarnia Sting, and then he played 3 more years in junior with the Legionnaires. So it was cool. We were always in the same town most of the time, which was pretty cool. The parents would go to his game, go to my game. Sometimes they had to split nights when it was the same night. But after his junior career was over, he started picking up the boat racing thing, and he enjoyed that a lot. So he spends, I'd say, 90% of his summers working on that boat or racing that boat. So that's his heart and soul. He liked hockey. He was pretty good at it too, but he never really had a passion for it. But he's got a pretty good passion for the boat racing thing.
I'm the younger brother, so you have a couple of years underneath your brother too.
Yep, 2 I'd say.
Did you always find yourself in a point where you felt like you had to kind of play up to compete with your brother and his friends?
Well, the thing is, like, my grandpa and my dad coached him the majority of his minor hockey career, so when he was like 12 to 16. So that way I could practice with them, actually. So I'd go to my practice, and then they'd have a later practice, so they'd want me to come out with them. And it wasn't easy, obviously, especially when you're that young and they're 2-3 years older than you. And so that was a cool part. I mean, I got to practice with them, but playing against those older kids kind of gave me an idea that I did like the game, but it was going to be tough if I wanted to do it the right way.
So in hockey, I know that I played soccer and baseball growing up. There's a little bit of a difference in age gap.
A little bit.
But with hockey, from what I understand, it's a much larger jump, even if it is just a couple of years. In your experience, is it similar to the jump that you have coming out of major junior and going up to the pro level and going between pro levels?
Right. Yeah, I'd say so. The junior B to junior A, or whatever, junior B, OHL, whatever you want to call it. It's a pretty tough jump as well, but I found out in a pretty quick way the year I played in Orlando, going right from junior that year playoffs to their playoffs, that it was pretty tough. I mean, you go from playing anywhere from 16 to 20-year-olds to 20 to 35, 39-year-olds that have played 15 years of pro hockey. So just knowing that in your mind is in itself hard enough to get over. And just I think the skill level, the speed, and obviously that all elevates pretty quickly. So it's a tough jump, but most players obviously that are good enough, they can make it, and it's fun to see who can handle it.
Now, from what we talked about before we were on our way over here, that wasn't the first time you were riding a Zam, was it?
I don't believe so. I can't 100% confirm this, but I do think when I was a kid, the Joe Louis, we would go to some of the Red Wings games, obviously, and they would do the Zamboni ride around thing in that seat that you got to sit in, the comfy seat. You get to sit in there and drive with the Zamboni in intermissions. I'm pretty sure I did that one time. I have to call my mom, but I'm pretty sure I did it.
We came here on Zam. You came here by car though. And we were talking before, like, it doesn't feel like you've been here
only after about the first weekend. It feels like you've been here throughout the entire season, but to you, does it also kind of feel that way too?
Oh, yeah.
You had a different journey with it.
Right, yeah, no, definitely had a different perspective on it coming from Fort Wayne, but all the guys treat me like I've been here the same. I mean, everyone that comes here, we're all good too, obviously, but I couldn't, all my best friends are on the team. As soon as I got here, it was a good time. I mean, honestly, I didn't know much about Boise, Idaho, so when I found out I was coming here, I was a little on the edge, didn't know much about the team, about the place. I'm driving here and I got 5 miles left of my GPS and I don't see anything. I just see dirt. It's like, what is happening? And then you see the city, like, oh yeah, there you go. And I find out all about the team and got pretty lucky if you ask me. So
you did that, was it 28-hour drive?
That wasn't that bad. It was 24. So yeah, it makes a difference when it gets that long. But yeah, no.
Is that the longest drive you've had to do consecutively?
Yeah, yes, by far. Good.
Do you think
no
you
doubt.
would ever do that again?
I'm gonna have to get home. It's not the end of the world, especially going back home. I think one of my buddies or my brother might fly out and then drive back with me, so I don't have to do it all alone. Because that one, I think, to get back right to Detroit is about 30. So.
What if you drove back on a Zamboni?
I think it would take me till next season, and I would have to turn around and do it again. So I don't see the point. I don't think Grammer would be happy with my physical physique at that point.
Probably not.
No, but
you kind of really settled in on the same unit with Keegan Kansas. Funny enough, you guys have had, I think right now at this point, it's a plus-minus rating of over 50. Does it ever feel like you're part of the story of a Mice and Men because you guys are so differently shaped and sized?
Yeah, and he keeps to himself a little bit more too. Our personalities are a little off, but as soon as we step on the ice, apparently something clicks. I mean, I've been playing hockey since as long as I can remember, and I've never had a solid D partner for this long anywhere else. So it's a nice feeling too. I know exactly what he's going to do, and he knows exactly what I'm going to do, and I think that's why it's been working so well.
And that's not only just you guys too, but it's the entirety of the defensive core. There's been rotation coming in and out, but it feels like that everyone just has been cohesive. Is it just a personality thing, or just a right combination at the right time?
I think the personality has somewhat to do with it. I mean, you can't put it all on that. Obviously, hockey and the skills that go with it, they show on the ice, so you're not going to click with everyone. I mean, we got a couple pairs that are righty-righty and some that are lefty-lefty. There's a whole bunch of variables that could go into it, but like you said, I mean, the 6 of us, 7 of us that have been rolling all year, I mean, we can all play with each other if we have to, and there'll be no issues, which is a very nice thing to have, because you never know what's going to happen down the stretch in playoffs and all that stuff.
Compared to other teams you've played with, what's been the defining factor of this team, and what's been kind of different about this team compared to what you've skated with before?
Right. Honestly, probably the locker room. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah, the locker room. I mean, I've had teams where I've got best friends on, and I still talk to them to this day, obviously. But a team like this, where every single person can hang out with them one-on-one and have no problems for a full day, you don't see that often. And then you got other stuff like some guys got kids, some guys are married. I mean, that affects the locker room sometimes, and honestly, it hasn't even come across once to these guys, and it's pretty awesome. I mean, I'd hang out with Fedzi and his kid any day of the week. He's a good time to be around. His kid's awesome. So stuff like that, it really translates to how much success we've had this year. And then in a deep playoff run, which we're hoping to make, I mean, that's what wins championships, I think, is in the locker room.
I know you're new to Boise. And you came, I think it was only a couple weeks after I did.
Okay.
So you've had a little more time to explore compared to me, but what's been your favorite thing about Boise specifically? As an out-of-towner transplant, yeah, you're not allowed to spend as much time as you want, but what's kind of been the coolest thing about this city?
Honestly, I just like the setup of it. Everything is very easy to get to. Especially, I mean, we're lucky with the rink being right in the center of downtown, and we can walk anywhere. But I mean, back to the apartments, I got 15 minutes if I want to go to the other side of Boise, which is where a lot of the entertainment, I'd say, is, all the movies, theaters, and stuff like that. That's another 10 minutes. So it's nice to not have to drive an hour and a half to go do something when you're bored or something like that. And then it's just clean. I find it's a very clean city. I mean, as weird as that sounds, it's coming from Detroit, where it's not always the nicest place to look at like that. It's cool to see that. My parents actually came for a visit a couple weeks ago. They said they loved it. I told them they were going to love it. They wanted to meet me somewhere warm in Allen or Texas, something like that. I was like, oh, you gotta come check out Boise. It's pretty cool. So they were glad they did. Well, thank you for your lunch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good
Thanks
time.
for coming out.
Hey, thanks for the ride.
Oh, it's gotta go right back again.
I don't know how much I'm looking forward to it, but we'll see.
I spent 4 years in junior hockey.
Right.
You spent about that time up in the OHL. How much pizza did you actually have, and how much of it was actually good pizza?
Well, the amount I've had, you can ask anyone on the team now. It's pretty much my number one go-to meal on the road or at home. But actually, Sarnia had some pretty good pizza joints. There's two little ones, one right by the water under the bridge, so you get a nice little setting under it.
Nice.
It was pretty good. That was where I spent the majority of my time for late night meal.
Sweet.
All right, we're back.
Yep, hop on up. Next time on Hockey Players on Zambonis Getting Pizza.
I would kind of say I'm more of just a buff of learning things. I think most guys on the team would tell you that I'm kind of the team nerd.
Okay.
I've always liked history. I was always attracted to like World War II documentaries and stuff like that, just because, I mean, I think like every story, like every movie is kind of like based on history, right? So like there's no better stories than what's kind of happened in the past. So I find it pretty entertaining and educational to learn about.